What's up, everybody? How's it going? Brian Fanzo, iSocialFanz here, and I'm doing a FOMO Fans podcast episode from my hotel room here in Washington, D.C., as I am going to be going on stage tomorrow at the Digital Summit Washington, D.C. event. And today I want to talk about kind of acceptance of something that I don't think enough people talk about, especially as an entrepreneur. And it's something that it's taken me a little while to embrace. It's taken me a little bit while to understand the importance. And I think we all struggle with it. I've talked about on this show things like Impostor Syndrome, which for speakers, this is a big deal. When you're going on stage and you think to yourself, like, why am I the one going on stage? I don't know more than everyone else, or why should I get rewarded for this? There's that thing called imposter syndrome. But I think even more so than imposter syndrome is this idea of always having to win and always having to succeed. And I want to share a little bit of my story, and I'm going to relate this back to everyone that's watching live as well as everybody that's listening here on the podcast. I like to please everyone. I want everyone to be happy. I'm one that always roots for the underdog. My favorite baseball player is Barry Bonds, because even though Barry Bonds has people thought or think he was never proven guilty, that he was using steroids. I like to think of people that get second chances. I like to think that although people can make mistakes, I think everyone deserves second chances, sometimes third chances. And I think that's something that's innate in who I am. I believe that the world is better by giving people more chances. And I think judging other people because of one mistake or two mistakes they've made is something that I think we need to stop doing. I think nobody is perfect. Everyone knows that I preach that perfection is a fairy tale, because it is. Nobody is perfect. No brand is perfect. But beyond perfection, the reason I use the underdog, I want to please everybody scenario is not only do I want to please everybody, but I want to do my very best every single day. And I'm not okay with failure. You hear the things like, failure is a needed step towards success. Failure happens. You can't not fail. But I don't like failure. Failure actually sucks. Anyone who tells you failing is a good thing, screw you. Have you failed? Failing sucks. But here's the thing that I guess that I've been learning is when I fail, I analyze the living crap out of it, right? And I've failed many, many times, right? I fail, I analyze, because it's that whole Fred Flintstone thing, right? If you touch the stove once, you're an idiot. Touch the stove twice and burn yourself. You have to learn from your mistakes, right? And I'm a big believer in learning from your mistakes. But here's the thing that I kind of realized this weekend, and it's something that for me as an entrepreneur, and I think anyone that's out there today, you have to realize that you can't win every day. Like, let's use a baseball analogy, right? Nobody goes 10 for 10 in a baseball game. The great baseball players bat 300, 350. No quarterback goes perfect through a game. A great quarterback will throw 27 for 40. That means 27 completions, but ultimately it means 13 incompletions out of 40 attempts. And as an entrepreneur, I don't like having an incompletion. This past week was an entire week that I struggled to stay motivated. I'm not on my Adderall anymore for my ADHD due to some personal decisions that I made. But that's not an excuse. And for me, when I'm not fired up, when I'm not 100%, when I'm not kicking ass, I feel like a failure. And I had to realize, and I think it took till this past weekend for me to realize that some days I'm not going to be on my A game. Some days I'm not going to do the very best. Some days I'm not going to complete all my tasks. And you know what? It's okay. It's okay. And I say that with like a laughing manner because I'm one that wants to please everyone. I'm going to give it 100% every time I go on stage. Every day I wake up, I want to be the very best I can be. But holding myself to a standard that is impossible to achieve, all it does is crush you. And I want to tell you, I've been struggling a lot lately because the more success I get, the more I realize that I want more of it. And then when I fail, or when something doesn't go right, or I have a day, I had one of the days this past week where every email I went to reply to, I wasn't feeling it. I started writing some stuff for my book, and it wasn't coming out correctly. And I tell you what, here's the thing. Not only is it a journey, and I see everybody that's watching live, and thank you for those that are watching live. It's not only a journey, but you can't win every single day. You can't, not every at bat are you going to hit a home run. We can use every analogy that is out there. But as an entrepreneur, something that for me that I've had to learn, and yes, the balance of being an entrepreneur for me has been the hardest thing ever. Because I love to celebrate my wins. I love to celebrate wins. I believe you have to celebrate your wins. And I'm not one that relishes or spends too much time on my losses, but I hate losing. I freaking hate losing. I see it in my daughters. My daughters hate losing, but here's the thing, you're going to lose sometimes. And I guess that's the lesson I want to share, is that I've started to realize that I can't please everybody. I can't say yes to everything that comes in. And I can't win every time. I'm not gonna be the best every single time I get on stage. I'm not gonna have it every day as an entrepreneur. And I'm telling you what, I'm a solopreneur. I'm by myself. And those days, one of the days, the balance is tough. The balance is a struggle because, Wednesday of last week, I stayed up till 10 p.m. and I was grinding and I was working as hard as I could. And I was so mad at myself, not because I did anything wrong, or really I didn't fail, but I wasn't reaching the success or the level that I hold myself to. And here's the thing, I'm not telling you to lower the bar. Screw that. I'm not lowering the bar. But what I'm gonna start being okay with is I'm gonna start forgiving myself. I'm gonna start allowing myself some days where, you know what? Binging Netflix might be the best thing for me. And I think this is something that I'm starting to learn, is that if I want to have more days of the year delivering at 100%, I have to be okay with some of those days where I deliver at 50% or 25%. And it's not easy. And I know, it was a rough week for me, because I had this week set aside where I wasn't speaking, I wasn't doing a whole lot of things, and I set aside this week to kick ass, to make it the week of my summer, to do work on my book, to do work on my website, to do work. I had all of these goals. I wrote down, a whole lot of goals for me to do last week. And I had gone 16 straight weeks with going out of town at least one day. So 16 weeks I was on the road. And I took this 1 week where I knew I was home and I was going to crush it. I was going to be the best I could be. And guess what? I wasn't the best I could be. I didn't hit a home run. I would say I probably went 1 for 12, if you want to talk about it in a baseball analogy. I'm wearing my Pirates hat right now for those that are watching on Facebook Live. I went 1 for 12, probably with a double. My only hit was a double, which, hey, we can take that, right? But I think I have to learn to recover. I have to relearn to be self-aware, to self-reflect, to take care of myself. I know that, I celebrate wins. The way I reward myself is I spend more time with my daughters, right? And sometimes that's really tough. And I know I see Kristen Cardos, I see my friends over at Surge Atlantic here watching live, I see Lillian, I see everyone here that's jumping in, Jane and Randall. And here's the thing, I'm not really good at delegating. I'm not really good at being okay with not pleasing everybody, and I hold myself to a bar, and I'm never gonna lower that bar, because that bar, to me, I have big plans. My goal one day is to sell at Madison Square Gardens like Tony Robbins does and be on stage for 8 hours, inspiring, motivating, and educating. One day I'm going to do that. One day I'm going to sell out an entire arena around the world, and my focus will be inspiring people to have more empathy in the world, to embrace technology for not technology's sake, but for the ability for us to change the world thanks to coming together for technology. And my bar is set high as hell, and I'm gonna crush it. I have no doubt in my mind. But something that I have to learn to embrace, and that's what this weekend taught me, was, you know what? Just because I have these amazing goals doesn't mean I'm going to hit every goal along the way. And I want everyone that knows, everyone that's watching this, everyone that listens to this, share this podcast out with your fellow entrepreneurs, because anyone who tells you if you hustle every day, you can win every day, screw you. Anyone who says that is selling you unicorns and rainbows, right? It has to be a mix of self-care, self-awareness. It has to be a mix. I need to get better at delegating. I am bringing on 2 people onto my team part-time to help me with delegation. It's something I've been talking about for 3 years. I'm finally doing it. But it's also one of those things that, you know what, you're not alone. And I want everybody to realize this. I want everybody that's listening to realize this, is that give yourself a break. And that's what I did this weekend. It was yesterday. Sunday, I was watching golf. I like to watch golf. Like my favorite thing to do to allow my brain to relax is to binge Netflix or watch live sports. Those are I don't play video games. I'm not one. I like to binge Netflix shows, and I love to watch my Pittsburgh sports. I watched some golf on Sunday, and I was watching golf, and I started to just self-examine my week. And I realized, you know what, Brian? You know, you aren't a failure because you had some bad days. You aren't pushing yourself away from that goal of selling out arenas and doing those big things. It's just part of the journey. It's part of the ride. I mean, this ride it's hard. And I tell you what, the hardest thing for me as an entrepreneur, and I said this earlier, is dealing with the high highs and the low lows. And you don't even have to be an entrepreneur to have that, right? It's tough. It is really tough when one day you are crushing it and you're signing contracts, and the next day you lose business, or you send some emails out incorrectly, or you don't do something, and like as much as the highs are highs, the lows are low, and it's tough. It's tough on your psyche. Depression is a real thing. You need to take care of yourself. And yeah, I think the life of an entrepreneur, I love the Gary Vee lifestyle Gary runs at a rate that nobody can keep up with. Gary is superhuman, in my opinion. Using Gary Vee as a bar of what you want to accomplish is like using Apple as what you want your company to be, right? Like Apple is the first trillion dollar business, and Gary Vee is someone that works at a level that you can't compete with. And I'm just tired of, I guess I always looked at people that said hustle and winning as, hey, that's nonsense, that's out there. But I feel as entrepreneurs, you have to be okay with, hey, some days aren't your best days, and maybe you're going to have a bad week. Failure has never scared me. And I want to bring this all together. I had a call last week with a fellow speaker, and the fellow speaker said, Brian, I need your help. I'm struggling because I don't know if I'm good enough to continue being on stages. And they said, Brian, I know you're having all this success, and Brian, you're doing all this amazing stuff, and you must never have that problem. And here's the secret. I do have that problem just like everybody else. Some days I feel like I'm going to change the world and I deserve everything that I'm working for. Other days I'm like, I'm not the smartest person in the room. I'm not even the top 10 smartest person in the room. How the hell did I get so lucky in life to be able to be on stages and do what I do? And that's just something that you have to deal with, right? In the world we're living in today, there's so much content, so much conversation. Just scrolling through Instagram and seeing other people's success oftentimes makes you question your own success, right? But I want everyone to realize that, yes, and this is what I tell myself every time. I might not be the best at talking about influencer marketing or personal branding, but I am really good at being myself. I am really good at relating my message at a way that nobody can compete with. Brian Fanzo is the best Brian Fanzo there is. Nobody can be as good at me at being me, right? And I think that is why it doesn't scare me when I jump on stage. It doesn't scare me when I'm doing podcasts like this. Because guess what? Friends, I am not the most successful entrepreneur that you know. I am not the most successful speaker entrepreneur that you know. And I don't know everything. But what I do know is what I've learned along the way. And that's what I'm sharing. And I tell you what, this past week, it was rough. I was not great. I did not achieve the goals that I wanted to achieve. I did not hold myself to the standard that I like to think that I am capable of accomplishing. But guess what I'm okay with? I'm okay with it. I'm learning to be okay with it, and I love everybody that's watching here live. I love all the comments. Thank you guys so much for listening here. Thank you for listening on the podcast. This podcast, FOMO Fans, I built it with the idea that I was going to talk about the fear of missing out and help everybody cure their digital marketing FOMO. But I can tell you what it's really been, what this show has been. This is episode 80 that you guys are listening to right now. Episode 80 of the FOMO Fans podcast. This podcast has been group therapy. You guys allow me to rant. You allow me to share my thoughts. You allow me to voice my opinion. And if I can help one person, just one person, if one person listens to my show each episode and I make their day a little bit better, I help them maybe realize they're not alone. I maybe inspire them to keep on keeping on. Maybe I educate them on something they weren't aware of. That's all I could ask for. And this is a perfect example. I woke up this morning freaking pumped about my Monday. And I thought, wow, I crapped the bed last week. And why am I happy about today? And so I did a video and I posted it on Instagram, and in the first 15 minutes that my video was on Instagram, I had 30 people messaging me and saying, Brian, they needed that message and they're so glad that I was being transparent. And here's the thing. The more of us that can be transparent and be vulnerable, the better the world will become. I believe the world needs more empathy. We need more people sharing their story, and we cannot be more empathetic unless we are more transparent. Because transparency and through sharing our vulnerabilities, both the good and the bad, allow us to walk in other people's shoes. It is impossible to be empathetic for someone if we do not know their stories, their good and their bad. And I'm trying to live that every freaking day. I really am. I try to share the good, the bad. I'm not perfect. Perfection's a fairy tale. Control is an illusion. I'm struggling in this entrepreneur journey just as much as everyone else is. Maybe 2018's been my best year yet, but it's still not perfect. It's still not where I want it to be. And I have big aspirations. I've already said what I want to do, but to make the world more empathetic, we need to be more transparent with who we are, and we need to share our wins and our losses. And I hope you guys see that in what I'm doing. I hope to inspire you guys to press the damn button and share your story. Share the good, share the bad. This is a revelation for me that happened on Sunday. Sunday, I had this epiphany that said, Brian, stop beating yourself up. You're not going to go 10 for 10. You're not going to throw 40 for 40 passes. You're not every shot on goal. I played hockey in college. I scored in one season, I scored 13 goals and I had 140 shots, right? So of those 13 goals was a really good season in college hockey, but I had 140 shots. That means, let me do my math real quick. 127 of my shots did not go in. And as an entrepreneur, you have to be okay with your shots not going in. You have to be okay with the fact that you got to keep shooting. And to me, I'm not scared of failure because I know I will never settle for failure. And I also know that by being transparent and being vulnerable with you guys, that I'm never alone and that I always will have people that are in my corner. And so I just want to thank you guys. Hopefully this inspires you. Hopefully this keeps you motivated. You're not alone. You're not going to hit 100%. And stop listening to those people that say hustle and winning always and you can drive Lamborghinis and own big houses because all you got to do is work hard. Screw you. Working hard is easy. Working smart and continuing to grow as a human, as a business owner, as a dad, as a mom, as a person making the world more empathetic, that's where the magic happens. And I'm excited. I'm excited for this revelation for me because I think I'm gonna beat myself up less. I'm gonna still hold myself accountable. The bar is gonna continue to be raised, but you know what? It's okay. It's okay. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this episode of FOMO Fans, live from my hotel room in Washington, D.C. I'm going on stage tomorrow here at Digital Summit, Washington, D.C. And then I'm flying to Dallas for Video Marketing World Dallas, a brand new event there. Excited to give a keynote on Press the Damn Button. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for sharing my podcast. Thank you for watching on Facebook Live. As always, I give you this one tidbit of advice. Show you care. Go above and beyond. Tell people in your life that you care about them, that you're thankful for what they do. I don't care if it's a content creator, if it's a mentor, if it's a friend. Show you care, my friends. Go above and beyond to let people know. Tell people thank you. It's as easy as saying thank you. You can inspire others to keep doing what matters, and that's how the world becomes a better place. As my friend Adam always says, caring counts. Show you care, my friends. Make it a great day. Cheers. All right, guys, thank you so much for listening. I know I was recording the live podcast, but I forgot my podcast mic. So I'm literally using Facebook Live to record this podcast. So that's why you don't see the big microphone in front of me. But thank you guys so much for watching. I see you, Adam. I saw Jamie. I saw your awesome comments. Luisa, I'll be in Dallas. My schedule's kind of crazy, but yeah, I would love to grab a cup of coffee. We can make it work. Lillian, always a pleasure, my friend. You are a great supporter. V, thank you so much. Morgan, wow. Jane Stewart, I saw Jane. I saw a bunch of your comments as well. You guys rock. It's fun doing. Hey, there's my Tank. Love you, Tank. Kristen. Yes, I get to see you. I get to see you this week, right? I get to see you in Fort Worth. We're gonna hang out for sure. But yes. Oh, thank you. So powerful. Well, I'll tell you what. This is how this works. I posted a video on Instagram. So I woke up and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do an Instagram story about what I figured out. And then I decided, you know what? I'm gonna do an Instagram post. So I did this Instagram post. And then all of the feedback, I tell you what, the people that reached out to me, and I know probably they're not watching right now, but Catherine, Vicky, Erica, Mia, Julia, Rachel, Adam, Dan, Tony, Kate, Kristen, Meg, Ashley, all of those people reached out to me with one Instagram post and said, Brian, thank you. I needed that. And as soon as I heard that, I was like, you know what? I need to do a FOMO Fans podcast episode on that. And so when people ask me, Brian, how do you create content? Where does that all come from? Oftentimes, I test a message on Instagram. If it resonates on Instagram, I create a bigger piece of content. If that bigger piece of content resonates, I create a podcast and a video and a live video, and it goes from there. You don't have to know everything. Trust me, there's a lot of stuff I throw at the wall on my Instagram wall, and nobody cares. And like, no comments, no views. And then I realize, hey, it doesn't need something else. But yes. Oh, thank you, Amy. Yes, Amy, I saw your messages on our live. Keep spreading empathy and caring. Yeah, you know, to me, that's my goal. I love technology, and I believe technology can allow us to have a more empathetic approach to life. But right now, we still look at technology for technology's sake. We still look at change as scary. And I want to help people, inspire them to realize that change doesn't have to be scary. Technology doesn't have to replace human interaction. Technology can give us the opportunity to have more human interaction. And that's my mission. That's my goal. Right now, it's just a stepping stone to get me there. But thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast. Check it out, FOMO Fans, if you're a podcast listener. Jamie, thank you for the comments. Jamie, I saw you in there. And thank you, Jamie. I know you shared this out with your community. Truly a pleasure. FOMO Fans podcast has been it's a wild ride. I'm on episode 80 right now. And my promise to the audience December 2nd of 2016 was that I would make it to episode 100. So I'm 20 episodes away from making it to episode 100, which I promised. I managed expectations, and I told everybody that I was going to do 100 episodes, and if they could commit to subscribing to my podcast, I would commit to 100 episodes. So today was episode 80. I'm very excited. At episode 100, I have a brand new show that I'm launching. It's going to be an interview show. I've already have 2 of the interviews already recorded. I have 2 more interviews that are booked, but I'm focused on FOMO Fans from now to 100. So thank you guys for checking out. Adam Purcell. Hey, I tell you what, Adam is a great dude. And I'm so excited. I get to go up and be a part of his event in Halifax. I've never been to Halifax. I've only been to Canada once. And I'm going to... Brian Yarnis, what's up, my friend? Cheers, Brian. Thank you for tuning in. I'm going up to Halifax for Surge Atlantic right there. Why is this backwards? I can't... I can't figure out how to point at my comments. You'd think this is my first live video, not my 2800th. But yeah, I'm going up to Halifax for the Surge Atlantic conference. Super excited to be a part of that. Adam, to me, is one of the best dudes out there at spreading the message of caring. Caring counts, and overall, just a great dude that's making the world a better place. And I'm doing my best to join that call and that rally. And so thank you guys so much for tuning in. I do have to jump on a phone call right now, but cheers. Make it a great day. Remember, you're not alone, and together we're going to change the world one day at a time. Cheers, my friends.